Hello crafters and welcome back. Here is the next video I have for the Spellbinders September Club Kits, and this one is featuring the card kit of the month, which is called So Happy. So as you would assume, this kit includes tons of pieces for floral cards, cards that have to do with sewing, crafty elements, all of these types of things, not just sewing, but knitting, anything in that field of work. And they always have florals in all of their kits depending on the exact theme. So this card kit is overflowing with tons of fun. So I actually went ahead and created 7 cards for this video. So I hope you have the stamina to sit and watch and listen, or just watch if you turn off the volume. But let's go ahead and get started and look at what's in the kit. So you have your little pamphlets, which shows you how to use the dies. You've got your die cuts, the envelopes. These are A2 size envelopes along with pre-cut card bases, double-sided tape and foam squares. You have some embroidery hoops, which are made from chipboard, along with chipboard stickers, the stamp sets. I'll show you the dies in just a second. Then we've also got the other stickers which come along with this. There are actually four sheets here of stickers which have a whole bunch of sentiments and little images, and then you've also got the paper pad. Now the paper pad is a 6x6-inch paper pad. They are all paper, and you get 2 of each design. There are 20 designs, so you're getting 40 sheets in this this book of papers, which have beautiful patterns, particularly kept in mind for stitching, crafting, and there's some beautiful floral pages in here as well. Now each card kit comes with cardstock. This one has a nice metallic silver, white, gray, yellow, pink, light blue, dark blue, green, and a purple. Now for the dies, you're getting a set that's made for embroidery. So you get an embroidery hoop and some floral images and a needle and thread to put that piece or all the die pieces together. Now this is a little trick I like to do. I have like this butter tart tray, and I just emptied it out. It's nice and clean, and I put all my little die cut pieces in here so that I can kind of sort through and find what it is I want for each of the cards that I'm making. So let's go ahead and get started with card number 1. So what I want to show you here is this is the card base that comes with the kit, and it has a bit of a canvas feel to it versus being smooth. And I like my cards to be smooth. So I cut out my own card bases, A2 size card bases with some smooth hammer mill cards, but I do like to use the canvas card bases here for specialty cards or for the embroidery cloths for this embroidery piece. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I've picked out a card base here, or sorry, a paper to attach to my card base. I've basically just glued it on and cut it down to size. And you can see here that I have this pocket that I pull all of my extra little scraps from the paper pad in. And I just kind of keep that together with my paper pad so that I can use the scraps for other pieces later on. I hate wasting anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually heat emboss one of the sentiments from the stamp set onto that canvas card base that comes with the kit. I've used some Ranger Princess Gold embossing powder, and once that's all stamped out, then I'm going to use one of the embroidery chipboard hoops. And you can see that the actual circle die, the larger circle die from the die set, fits perfectly in the center here. So naturally I used it to cut out that sentiment from the canvas card base, and now it's going to go in the center of that hoop. And because that canvas card base has that texture, it looks like the cloth that you sometimes can use for embroidering. So I just thought that was a neat little feature, and you can use what comes with the kit to do this. Now, as I said, I don't prefer the canvas cardstock for my actual card bases, but as I'm showing you here, you can definitely use it for other things. Sometimes what I like to do is actually cut the card base in half so that I have an A2 size card base, and I just use that as a panel and put my paper on it if I want a more sturdy card. So getting back to this card here, I've gone ahead and I've attached the embroidery loop with that makeshift embroidery cloth with the sentiment. Now I'm adding all of the cute little die cuts that I found that kind of went with this color scheme and with this idea for this card. I've got some florals, I've got like some sewing pieces, I've got the little card with the sewing thread, I've got the little sewing needles that I'm going to stick out of the top here. And then once I've built up my card with all the die cuts I feel work well, then I'll go ahead and I'll look at everything else from the set. So we've got all of these sticker packs here, and I'm seeing the extra sentiments, and I want to add a sub sentiment. So I've grabbed one of those and I'm adding that sticker to my card, and then I'll go ahead and add any of the extra pieces that come with the kit that I see work well with the card. And that's my general recipe, as Yana would say, for my cards for making or using card kits. I'll just kind of take an element that I really like the chipboard, the embroidery hoop. So that was the element I liked. I added the sentiment, and then I took the die cut pieces that work and added any of the extra bits that come with the set. So moving on to card number 2, I'm starting off with these essential squares from Spellbinders. This is one of the older sets. I think one of the newer sets that came out with shapes with was the Fluted Classics. But I went ahead and I used the purple cardstock from the card kit to cut out like a little square for my sentiment. And then I'm using one of the stickers from the set to attach to that card piece. Now I'll go to the papers and I'll find a paper that works well with the sentiment and the color of the square. So I'll just kind of search through for a paper I like, and then I'll cut it down. And for this one, I'm not going to attach it to the card base and cut it down. I'm going to cut it down first because I want it to have a little bit of a border. So I'm going to cut it to 4 inches by 5 1/4 to create a little border on my card base. I'll go ahead and attach everything to the card base, and you can see I attached the sentiment square with a bit of foam. And now I've gone to my die cut pieces. So I've gone ahead and off camera, I've kind of looked through all of the little die cut pieces and picked what I thought would work with this card. And I'd say the theme for this card is a crafty card. It's more of a crafty card. Look at the sentiment, live, love, laugh, and craft. So I decided I'll put together a whole bunch of little craft images. I've got some knitting needles, I've got some knitting thread, I've got a thimble, measuring tape, a safety pin, and some scissors. So this is more of a sewing crafty card. And just like I did with the last card, I've gone ahead and added my main bits, and then I'm going back to the chipboard stickers, to the paper stickers, and all of the other little elements, and seeing what I can add to make this card stand out a little more. And this is the method that I use for basically all of my card kit making. I find that it works, and I get the most out of what I've got. Now for all of my cards, you will see that I do add embellishments. These are some matte gold pearl embellishments that I've added. Now I'll move on to card number 3, and for this one I've picked out the floral blue pattern paper, and I will attach it to a mini slimline card. So the mini slimline card is 3 inches by 6 inches. So I just cut a 6 by 6 inch piece of white cardstock and scored it down the middle at 3 inches to create the card base. So now I've got the Fluted Classic slimline rectangles, and I'm actually using an outline and one of the embossing pieces to cut out some of that navy cardstock. And I'm going to kind of use this to kind of break up the pattern on the card and add the sentiment. And of course, I'm going to use one of the sentiments from the sticker pack. I'll attach this, and it fits perfectly in the center here. And then I'll go ahead and attach it to the card with some foam squares for sub-dimension. I'll just cut off that overhanging piece, and now I have this bust, or I don't know what the longer form of it is called, but I used to do a lot of sewing work. I used to sew like Indian blouses that go with saris and stuff like that. So I actually have my own bust at home, but yeah, I love the color of this bust. I wish mine was the same color. Mine is actually red. So anyways, from that bust, I kind of have a few little flaggy sentiments sticking out from it, and I love adding this element on my cards because I love the idea of the flowing sub-sentiments coming one after the other. They just look really nice, and if you can find something that has a straight edge, it's very easy to add these and get the same look. So now I'm looking through my chipboard pieces and some more die cut pieces just to add a bit more to the rest of the card. I love adding those little flowers onto that bust, and then I've got a sewing needle, a safety pin, a cute little floral that I'm putting near the bottom, and all these little pieces. Just I always find that adding more of what's there kind of just adds to the theme of your card and jazzes it up a little. So now I've got some of the Spellbinders pink opalescent sequins, and I thought that they worked very well with this card. So I will add a few to the background just to jazz it up a bit. And once I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and move on to the next card. Now for the next card, we're going to go ahead and use the Fluted Classic Slimline Rectangles. Now I don't have the actual Fluted Classics rectangles, those are out of stock everywhere. So I just used the smallest size, and I did some partial die cutting to get this rectangle, which you can tell is not the slimline rectangle, but it's going to work perfectly for a sentiment focal piece on this card. So this rectangle I actually cut out of the, you see it's got like a bit of a canvas texture to it. So that's actually the card bases that come with the set. So as you can see, I'm not actually using those card bases as card bases, but I'm using them for different elements in my cards. So even if you're like me and you like a smoother card because you have that canvas effect on the inside where you might want to do some writing, then you can do exactly what I'm doing to get your use out of it. And I'm just going to prop that up with some foam and add it onto the center of my card. As you can see, I heat embossed it with some gold embossing powder and one of the sentiments from the stamp set. And then I've got all of these floral pieces that I'm going to add around it. So even though this is the So Happy card kit, like most of their card kits, they always have some type of florals that kind of go with the theme. So I like to kind of pull those, and you can see they have some nice large ones with like a unique kind of design to it. So if you pull some of those, remember there's 2 of each of the die cuts, you can kind of make a floral arrangement here. And you can probably do this with each of your kits depending on what the different florals are. So you just kind of have to find what matches and goes together. So I've also got a couple flowers that I'm going to tuck behind that frame or that center, the center sentiment piece. And that just creates a bit more depth. So you have some flowers in the foreground and the background. And then I'll jazz it up with some clear gems. And that card is done. So now I will move on to card number 5. And again, this is an A2 size card. I'm just adding some adhesive to the card base, and I will stick on my my paper. So I've chosen 2 papers, and I'm going to create a diagonal split background with 2 different types of papers. What I like to do, or what I find is the easiest, just add adhesive to your card base, stick down your papers in whichever way you see fit, and then cut off all the overhanging edges. Then you don't have to measure anything, you don't have to calculate anything. It just works and everything fits easily. And if you're anything like me, I hate using rulers and measuring. You can see most of the time when I place my sentiments down, I totally eyeball it. I don't even measure anything. And that's just because, and my main reason for this is I'm from Canada, so we use the metric system here, and to convert to inches, and I mean, it kind of gets confusing. I'm used to working on tens versus 16ths or whatever it is. I can't even remember what I think there's 16 bits in an inch, or I don't know. Anyways, so that's why I don't usually measure. Now back to the card. I added a silver glitter strip to the center there. I probably could have used the silver metallic cardstock from the kit, but I wasn't thinking. So I went ahead and added some extra glitter cardstock. And then I've also got all of these circular pieces that come with the set. So there are a few circular die cut pieces, and then there are also a bunch of circular stickers on the sticker pack. So I thought these would work perfectly to create a card with different sizes of circles and just kind of have them randomly on the card front. So as you can see, I'm just randomly placing down these circles and trying to vary them so that 2 of the same size are not beside each other. I have one kind of hanging off the edge. I'll cut it off and attach the piece that I just cut off to another edge of the card so that the card looks completely cohesive. And that was my idea for this, all the little circles. So that is also another design or an idea that you can use for any card kit. Just find similar elements in your die cuts and the sticker packs, and it makes it easier to put cards together that kind of flow and work well. So moving on to card number 6, there is this beautiful yellow floral paper from the paper pack, and I'm just going to cut that down to size. It fits the card base perfectly, so it's A2 sized. And now I've got this round cutter. So it basically rounds your edges, and I'm just going to use that on all of the edges of my card. So I saw this done, and I actually liked the idea of it. I didn't even think, oh, I can change my pointy edges to rounded edges, and it just gives your card a different, more finished, not more finished, but a different look. Now, for busier backgrounds like this, I like to add vellum, so it basically kind of mutes the background a little bit where you're adding your sentiment or your focal point pieces on the center of your card. So I've added that today heart wreath sticker, and you can see I added it to my vellum first, and then I put my foam adhesive behind that to attach it to the card because you don't really want your adhesive showing through. So all I did was use that center point to attach, and then I'll add all of my other elements, including these other little sentiment strips, and then I'll add extra foam behind those to make sure that it's securely adhered to the card base. So I'm not 100% sure if you can hear it, but I do want to apologize here because I kind of had to split my recordings today to do my voiceover for this video. And today there seems to be a lot of construction going on in the house beside me. So if you do happen to hear any banging or clanking, very, very sorry. Out of my control. So anyways, I'll go ahead and finish off this card with some embellishments also. So swiftly moving on to card number 7. Now this one is a little bit more labor intensive, and that's probably why I left it till the end. But I did want to get use out of that beautiful die set that comes with this kit. And what it is it has this embroidery hoop with all of these floral pieces that you can put together to create a paper embroidery hoop. So I'm using the silver cardstock, a metallic cardstock, and I've got the 2 circles put together, taped them together to make the hoop. And then I've also got the little pieces that are, attached to the hoop, which connect it so that the cloth can go through it. I've cut that out, and I'm also cutting out all of the flower pieces. We've got the needle and the thread, and I'm using all of the different colors that come with the kit. So I've got some yellows, the greens, the navy, and some white. So now for my card base, I've got this beautiful pink paper from the paper pad, and I'll attach it to the card base like I've done with all of the other ones. And then I'll go ahead and attach my metal pieces for the outside of the hoop. And of course you need the center of the hoop as well. And again, I cut that out of the canvas card base that comes with the card kit. Now for my sentiment, I grabbed one of the stitching sentiments that come with the stamp set, and I stamped that out with some plain VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink on some white cardstock. And that will be cut down to add kind of coming off the bottom edge of the card. So now that I've got that hoop on there, I have to add those little pieces on the edge. So this, I made a little bit of an error. So I like to use my acrylic block to add some weight while that sets. And I added that little, I'm going to call it a U piece because I don't know what it's called. And I attached it first. So what you want to do is actually attach this little knobby piece to that U piece first, and that goes behind it, and then attach it to your hoop. So here I'm going to have to kind of lift up that U piece and insert it behind to attach it properly. So now I'm moving on to the florals, and I've got my little foam mat here, and I'm using my Sizzix my Spellbinders tool-in-one, the foam mat is Sizzix, to kind of shape these flowers and basically assemble them. So as I'm shaping them, I'm adding glue and I'm adhering the layers together. I wanted the layers because I really wanted these to kind of stand up on that embroidery hoop and have lots of dimension. I wanted it to look just a little bit different, even though an actual embroidered piece would not have this much dimension. But hey, it's a card. You can do what you want. Let your creativity flow. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put together all of these little floral bits. And, there's also the little foliage greenery pieces. So one has like a stem with little berries that you can add. And the other one is just for these little flowers, these different little flowers that you can add on that, which I'm going to add in layers as well with the different colors. So now that I've added all of the flowers and the foliage bits to the hoop, I've got some extra smaller little flowers that I'm going to add around the hoop on the background. And even though, again, it's not on the hoop, it just kind of ties everything together and lets your eye kind of flow off of that hoop to the background and hopefully down towards the sentiment. So I always like to create this type of flow in the cards that I create as much as I can. Sometimes I completely forget. So now that I've added the sentiment strip there, I've added it with some foam. I'll go ahead and jazz this up with some more clear gems. I have a bit like a larger gem that I have from another, like a pack that I got from the dollar store that I added to that big flower. And then for the rest of them, I added my clear nail art gems, which You could also use the Spellbinders clear gems as well. And you can see I just added some yellow little gems to those the little berry stalk there, and I thought that that worked well with the color theme. And now I realized I forgot my needle and thread, so I'm actually taking the paper thread and threading it through the needle hole, and then I will just add some glue and attach this near the hoop so that it looks like I just kind of embroidered this and put it together. I really like how the needle turns out with the metallic silver cardstock. It just looks so realistic. And that's my 7 card inspiration for the Spellbinders card kit of the month called So Happy. So if you are a crafty person, you like sewing, crafting, embroidering, all those types of things, go ahead and check out this kit. I'm sure there's something that you're going to like. All of the products that I've used today are linked in my blog, which is linked in the description below. Don't forget to check that out. There are some affiliate links there, which I'd really appreciate if you bought through that, if you were inspired by me. If you like my video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And just for your information, the club kits actually are available to purchase through the 1st of the month to the 24th of September. After that, there's kind of like a blackout date and no more can be purchased. But there's also a past club kits link on my blog on the side panel on the left. Go ahead and check that out. There's a bunch of older kits, if you didn't get a chance to get them, that you could also purchase. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.